Hi, welcome. So today we are going to be talking about why TXT's RunAway is so familiar, and yes, we are going to do some BTS comparisons, so if that offends you, feel free to click out of this video because I tend to do very controversial second gen to third gen comparisons, and even third gen to third gen. There's no boundaries. And quite honestly, TXT is the BLACKPINK to my 21, and I know that's controversial to say, and I know groups have their own images, but there are of course similarities no matter where you look. The world is a lie, everything is the same, and everything is different too. Because philosophy, I don't know, I got a C in that class, don't ask. We're gonna jump right into the similarities, and then we're gonna talk about my theories for the music video as well as the various symbolism that I can find. And then lastly, I will review the song. But before we get into it, I'm going to stop you right there to remind you to subscribe to this channel and click that bell to be notified. You can also do little things here and there like commenting, sharing, liking, and following me on Amino and watching my stories. Let's start with outfits. The first similarity that I can find is with BTS's DNA outfits. Obviously they're not the same, but I think they're quite similar. And I want to point out that this guy's shirt says "Itsid" on it, which means studies, which will tie into the theories that I will tell you guys later on. Keep that in mind. And then at the end of the music video, when we're at the pool scene, these outfits seem like a more modern take on BTS's debut outfits with No More Dream, with a little bit less cringe. But I mean, you can't shit on 2013 K-pop, it was iconic. But I'm willing to admit there were some elements of cringe. Let's move on to choreography because you guys know that I'm very annoyingly observant. This whole dynamic, as well as this member moving off to the side like this, is very similar to V moving off to the side in DNA. There's also the whole intertwining of arms that I thought was quite similar. And then there's this one move, it's kind of a stretch. Don't at me. That reminds me of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. You kind of have these hands over your head or your eyes, and then you emerge from underneath. And the last similarity that I found within choreography was actually with Twice. And it's with this clock move. It reminds me of Twice's Heart Shaker and GFriend's, what's the name of it? You guys are probably yelling at your screens like, it's this song, Angelina, I'm sorry. So those are actually the similarities that I could draw from this. And trust me, I was looking because for a long time I was convinced that TXT was just like BTS number 2. Just like for a little bit, I was convinced that BLACKPINK was like a 21 2.0. Obviously, I've changed my mind and I'm making a video about that, but I wanted to find similarities between TXT and BTS to kind of prove my point that, you know, companies do this. Companies always recycle quote unquote groups that worked for them. And BLACKPINK just get a lot more hate for it because they are women in K-pop. But more on that in another video. Okay, let's get into the symbolism because I found so much. I was even surprised. I felt very smart. So please keep in mind these are my own theories. These are my own interpretations of what I saw. And it doesn't mean that this is what TXT was going for, but let's get into that. I also don't know any of their names. I'm so sorry. This is literally the first time I've seen a TXT music video. This is all I know about TXT. One of the members had a parrot once. Of course she would know that. So initially we see one of the members drawing a straight line into the grass. This represents the mundane confines of our lives and how we essentially create these lines for ourselves. And you can see there's a ball in his way, and this represents fun. And you see him ponder for a split second, like what should he do? Should he continue the mundane activities of his life, or should he stray outside of that and have some fun? But he quickly decides to kick the fun away, quite literally, and continue drawing his line. This scene is actually really cute because you see him drawing a line alongside someone else's line, and it just kind of shows that you don't have to walk through life alone, and your line can intertwine with someone else's, and it doesn't have to be mundane. So then we also find some symbolism within the drawings on the whiteboard, and we see the dichotomies of life. We see the good and we see the bad. We see things that make people fearful, like fires or aliens, or I mean that could be good too. But you also see the good things in life, like nature and friends and support systems. Then we see one of the members carving inside his notebook. Now this isn't really seen very well in school, and I mean potentially your teacher would reprimand you for this. My teachers let me do anything as long as I didn't speak English, because God forbid you speak the enemy's language. But for me, this represents him concentrating so much of his energy on something that is not worth his time, and consequently it troubles him, which is represented by the book Catching Fire. When he tries to put out the fire, it doesn't work, meaning that the way he feels simply can't be changed so easily. And the fire extinguisher is carried around with them despite the fact that they know it's defective, which represents that we often carry unnecessary baggage with us even though we know we shouldn't, because it's a comfort to us. It's a false comfort. We also see a book that says, put out the fire. And to me, this book is not helpful because it's not a self-help book. It doesn't say how to put out a fire, but it's just an imperative sentence. So they already know that they need to put out the fire, but they don't know how. So this book is just pretty much useless. But it's showing how they're still concentrating on that fire, even though it's nowhere in sight. Like how we dwell on things that are not necessary in that moment. How we stress about the past and the future when really the present is enough to drive anyone crazy. So then we get to the pool scene and they end up in a mysterious alternate universe. And though it seems cool and they're exploring, they're ultimately lost and they're trying to find their way out. And then they come face to face with a door. And this very well could be, for all they know, their only way out of this place. And it catches fire. So what you could do in a situation like that is just dwell on it. And just sit there and wait forever. Instead of stressing about it. Because we already know that these are fires that they cannot put out. Even after reading a book, even after using a fire extinguisher, these are fires that are out of their control. They can choose to adapt to the situation and move on. They can walk away and just find a different way out. And we see that the wound that he had on his finger at the beginning is now gone because they've realized that they don't need to be held back by the things that are out of their control, and that is freeing. But I don't know what the burnt bear means, so sue me. But we did see the bear when the initial fire started in the book. So you let me know what you think that means in the comments down below. So those are all the symbolisms that I could find. Now let's move on to my review of the song. I have to say I was very apprehensive of giving TXT a chance. And it was 100% because of BTS. I knew that if I was gonna watch something of TXT, it was only because of the BTS hype, because Big Hit only had one other group. I mean, yes, of course they had glam, and I mean, we could bring them into this, which we will, because hi, I'm an annoying second gen stan. But admittedly, BTS is Big Hit's biggest K-pop group. So of course, if I was gonna give TXT a chance, it was solely based on that fact. And I didn't want to give them a chance based on that fact. If I was gonna listen to TXT, I wanted it to be like more organic than that. So I woke up this morning and I saw it on my recommended and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give them a chance. And I did, and I absolutely fell in love with this song head over heels. My 3-month free Spotify plan ended, so I can't actually download it to my Spotify playlist, but I totally would. It was just that much of a beautiful song. Watch every single one of my music video reviews right now. Go through them. There's a playlist. And tell me when I've ever said that about a song. I'm so picky when it comes to songs, and I fell in love with this song, and that's what compelled me to make this video, because I was like, damn, this is a rare occasion and I needed to share it with my best friends, which are you guys. So the way they say like, run away with me, it just sounds like a very majestic request. But the lyrics are just really beautiful and just very encouraging. Like, if you're feeling sad, take my hand. So the lyrics kind of remind me a little bit of SHINEE's Ayo. That song, I'm gonna cry. That song got me through really hard times when I was younger, because the lyrics say, if you're tired, oh my god, if you're tired of the feeling of being alone, then follow me. And the lyrics to the song kind of give me that feel, like, run away with me. If you're sad, like, run away with me. The sound of the song feels like a mix between UKISS's Believe and Kara's Lupin. Believe just makes me feel like I can take on the world, and Lupin, actually, Kara songs in general make me feel like it brings me to a different universe, and it's just a really cool feeling, and it's just a mixture of those elements together. Like, it has this ethereal feel to it, like you would just fake walk slowly down the street and smile at the night sky while listening to this. But then the dibby part, I think they took that from Mino from SHINEE. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. If you're a 3rd gen K-pop stan and you haven't like done your research on 2nd gen, I need to show you something.
My name is Minho.
Sorry, I had to. But anyways, that's all I had to say. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, click that bell to be notified, and follow me on Amino.